Hey, I'm Kelly, and today I'm going to be talking about self-love, why it's important, and how you can start unlocking it for yourself today. First, I'll go through a little bit of my own journey to self-love, see if any of this resonates. So, my first memory was being on my dad's shoulders with my mom on the seafront. Now, that sounds really idyllic, right? Having a little stroll on the seafront. But my dad said, I am leaving you guys. And 3-year-old me didn't know really what to make of it, but I knew it wasn't good. So from then, I felt like if I'm not good enough for my dad's love, then I have to give all of myself to be worthy of friends, partners, etc., sticking around. So the people pleaser Kelly was born, and I went through life putting all of my energy, all of my time into everyone else, irrelevant of what I felt, what I thought. I thought, well, if everyone else is happy, then I'm happy. And I actually did believe that for a long time. But the person I was neglecting the most was myself. And then 3.5 years ago, I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening. Now, for some of you, that might sound really hippie and weird, or even you might be going, oh, she's mental. Basically, what it means is the best way I can describe it is like a big bang of self-awareness leading and just like floods of repressed emotion. So personally, I've always been someone who wears my heart on my sleeve, and I'm usually always aware how I feel about things. But after my awakening, I started crying floods of tears and I didn't know why. And then all this self-awareness came, and I started to become aware of all these different things that I'd never consciously thought of before. And I think it's Carl Jung who spoke of the conscious and subconscious being like an iceberg. So maybe like 20% is the conscious. I might not have the numbers right. And this is the things that we're consciously aware of. And all the rest is under the surface. So when I started crying and not knowing why I was crying, it felt like I was releasing things and I didn't know what, but I realised that all of these feelings in my body had been trapped and they needed to come out. And to divert slightly, there's another thing I think of here, and that is I tried Qigong maybe 15 years ago, and as part of the introduction, the practitioner had us lie down, and he would press gently with the heel of his hand on each of our chakras to see where there were blocks. When he pressed on my heart chakra, it wasn't hard, it didn't physically hurt, but I burst into tears and I didn't know why. So come back to my awakening and crying all of these releasing tears and this big bang of self-awareness. And I started to realise, hold up, why am I putting everyone else's needs before my own? Why am I giving everyone else love, but I'm not giving myself love? And the more I went within, the more I started to trace things back to their root. And this thing of being a people pleaser, I realised it went back to my first memory, my dad leaving, not feeling enough, feeling I had to put everyone else before me. And then, no disrespect to my dad, he's a good person with a good heart, but I realised he wasn't emotionally available for me. And I used to take it so personally. I used to think, what have I done wrong for him to not want to be near me? But then I realised with this big bang of awareness, hold on a minute, other people's emotional reactions and response, they're actually nothing to do with me. They are that own person's journey and responsibility. I can only be responsible for myself. And I started to realise I do deserve the same attention or energy or respect and all of those important things in any connection back 50-50. Why should it be me giving all of myself? And in return, for some people appreciated it, some didn't. The ones who didn't appreciate it, I felt like I had to try harder and harder for them to validate me. And then, so it all comes back to the self-love. this time 3 years ago to the day. So it's 3.5 years ago awakening, 3 years ago to the day, I told myself for the first time, I love myself. And I felt it in my heart and I meant it and it didn't feel weird. And it was absolutely life-changing because I no longer felt like I had to look outside of myself for people to validate me, that I was okay as I was. And if I could embrace myself, then the ones who genuinely could embrace me, they're for me. The ones who couldn't, gently let them go. They're clearly not on my path. And it was absolutely life-changing. So for you, the thought of putting your hand here, your heart chakra, which is aligned with your heart, but the chakras are in the middle of the body. It's like the energy centers. So if you put your hand on your heart chakra and you say to yourself, I love myself, how does that feel? And if it feels good and you say it with conviction and you mean it and you feel good about it, then massive high five, because you genuinely have self-love right now, and that's an amazing, beautiful thing. If it feels weird, that will be so many of you, and that's totally normal. We go through life picking up different ways of being and thinking and habits, dynamics, behaviours, all of this through our peers when we were at school, from brothers and sisters, from our parents, from teachers, even from friends, from society. And it can be so easy to see ourselves with less than mentality. So if when you put your hand here and you tell yourself, I love myself, if it feels weird, stupid, like you feel embarrassed, or you might even want to cry, like I cry very easily, I swear, and I cry. So if you don't mind these things, stick around. So if you want to cry, then it's like emotions are an emotion, they're like a dam. They will retain in the body and they can cause mental health or physical health issues until we release them. So if you feel like telling yourself, I love myself, if it makes you feel like you want to cry, find somewhere where you can be alone in private and just tell you, like, do it, like go within, like put your hand on your heart, tell yourself, I love myself, and just feel the emotions, let them come out. And then every time a bit of emotion is released from the body, it's so unbelievably healing for the mind, body, and spirit, or soul, or whatever you want to call it. So I suggest you try doing this every day if it feels weird, if it feels uncomfortable, and if there are feelings of discomfort or sadness or even anger, right, or shame or anything like that, that's not just pure love, then what I suggest is to, again, like give yourself a little bit of alone time. We make ourselves so busy in this day and age. We're always packing in like so much to do, people to prove ourselves to, social media to scroll through. Just bin all of that off. Give yourself like even just 10 minutes alone in private in a room with no distractions. And you can either think about it or write it down or type it, whatever's good for you, even draw, whatever's natural for you, and start exploring it. So you could, for instance, you could write down, why am I feeling sad when I tell myself I love myself? And then you might start thinking of something, write it down. But where does this come from? And then write that down. And what does this relate to before this time? Where did this start? Like me with my dad thing, I believed that because my dad couldn't be there for me, that I wasn't worthy of love. So for instance, trace it back to the root, and then find the root, and then find ways to release the emotion from your body. Crying, go and do some martial arts, like punching, like get the energy out. Or writing, drawing. You could write poetry, you could make music, you could create some beautiful piece of art. Do somatic breath work, try EMDR. There's so many ways to release that emotion from your body. Then you've removed a layer of the onion of healing, right? Then put your hand on your heart again. I love myself. Now, how does it feel? So if the first time, say like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like, oh my God, 10 awkward, 10 pain, 10 shame, right? The next time, how does it feel? Maybe this time it's like, okay, it only feels like 7 of awkward, or even just like 9.5. That's amazing. That's healing. Keep going, keep doing it. Keep going back through all of the things that made you feel this way. It's time right now to let them all go. And I just saw 1111 on the timer for the spiritualists out there, synchronicity. This 1111 means spiritually a new phase. So if you found this video, then now is your new phase to start feeling and unlocking unlimited self-love. You deserve no less. So this is my first video of my new channel, and I'll be talking about well-being, healing and transformation for everybody, but especially for empaths, intuitives and sensitives. So if this resonated, drop a little like or follow, and I'll see you next time. Bye!